Hi, everybody. Welcome to A Kiss for Luck. I'm Steve Wolf.
I'm Charisse Wolf.
And with us today, we have Mike Crutchfield, our regular great handicapper from Northern California. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Looking forward to this.
Excellent, excellent. And in the other corner, we have Rich Biegelman. And what is Rich all about here? Horse racing today. And he's a handicapper for guaranteed tip sheets. Hi, Rich. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Steve, how are you today?
I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. Couldn't be any better. Well, let's I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go around the board here and get some picks from everybody first and foremost, and then we're going to talk to Rich a little bit. So let's start off with Northern California, Mr. Big Mike Crutchfield. Go right ahead, sir. You're up.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, Steve and Charisse and Rich, I'm going to give out the late pick five at Saratoga, Friday's pick five. It's a $96 play. And it starts in the sixth race. And again, I'm going to use four horses in this. And I'm going to use the two, Catch the Smoke, which is a horse that's dropping down. Also, the number three, Unbridled Bomber, dropping down. The five, Steiner, is kind of cheap, but has all the speed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the seven as well. Now, my first preference is going to be the number two in the
Okay.
first leg. Now, going to race number seven, again, I'm going to use the number three, Curly Q Girl. I love the breeding there out of Smart Strike Curlin. I love that on the turf.
Yep.
And I'm going to use the five, six, and eight. Now, the eight was just closing like a mad woman sprinting, and now you get a mile. So, but my top preference is going to be the number three. I love that breeding. Love playing the smart strikes on the turf. Usually, when they hit the turf, they just wake up on that surface, and that horse is at 8-1 on the line.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, next leg.
Okay, race number eight. Again, I'm going to use four horses. This is a cheap maiden race. And again, you got a first time starter on the rail. I'm gonna use that Rob Atris's horse. So I'm gonna use the one, three, six, eight. Now I'm gonna the eight is 20-1, and going from dirt to turf to dirt, and is at 20-1. I kind of like the way that horse has a good work on the page, and I'm throwing that one in. Um, and again, so I'm going to use as my top play. I'm going to use a 20-1 shot, the number
Oh,
eight.
nice, nice. All right, we like it.
Okay. And the ninth race, I'm going to use three horses. Now, Irad is gotten off of the third choice to ride the Macho Music, who's on the rail. Looks like last race he kind of quit. But it was a lot more speed in that race. So I'm going to use three horses here. I'm going to use the number one, Macho Music, the number three, Smoking Wicked, and the number two, Garmin. I think you
Okay.
can get out of that race with those three horses.
Okay, fantastic. All three rail horses. Your
Yeah.
next leg.
And again, I'm going to single in the last the 10th race. I'm going to single the Clement horse number two. I just like the way the horse. Again, that horse has been off for a couple years, but the Clement barn does good with those types. And the horse first time Lasix. I think it's going to want every inch of the ground. And I also like the fact that they do pretty well. The owner of that horse is the sister, and they're dropping from straight maiden down to 50. I think they're trying to win. I think this is the money run. So I'm going to single that horse.
All right, beautiful. Well, you're certainly front end heavy. You got 2-3-5-7 with 3-5-6-8 with 1-3-6-8 with 1-2-3 with the two singled in the last
Yes,
leg
sir.
dividend recap. Fantastic, sir. Fantastic. Well, Charisse, what do you have for us, dear?
Well, I'm going to start tomorrow at Del Mar. I'm going to make this my single in the early pick 5 and early pick 4. I really like this horse if he gets in. He's an also eligible. The third race, number 11, Madi Madi.
Mhm.
Steve Knapp, as you know, first time out is amazing. And Escobedo's bringing his tack down there to ride. I know there's no Los Al tomorrow night, but he's making the trip. We love him at Los Al. I think he's going to get that horse out on top. And of course, who's the sire, Mike?
Stay
Hey,
thirsty.
Thirsty, our last baby that we bred. Yay. And I really think this horse, if he can get out on top, go. And I'm hoping we get somewhere around 12 or 15 to 1. So Madi Madi. Now, I think I've got a little head-to-head wager with Mr. Rich here for
Okay.
Saturday's late pick 4.
All right.
And Rich, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Well, you can go first.
Okay.
That way I can kind of ease my way in.
Okay, the late pick 4 is going to start in
Race 9.
Yep. Verse 9.
race 9. I have the wrong day. Hold on. Here it is. Race 9. There we go. Okay. Yes, $54 ticket, Mike. Don't fall out of your chair.
Okay.
I've already fainted, but I've been revived.
Okay, here we go. Woo, drum roll. All right, ninth race. I'm going to start with number 3, 12 to 1, Daisy Flower.
Flyer.
Pardon?
Flyer. You said flower.
Daisy Flyer. Sorry about that. Daisy Flyer, number 3. And I'm also going to use the 5, the favorite with Jose Ortiz. Classic Q. And I'm sorry, I'm 3 deep. Number 10, Play with Fire. Chad Brown, Manny Franco. In the 10th race, I'm going to single. Who else? Sovereignty. I don't think anyone's going to touch him. Sovereignty in the 10th. 11th race, I'm going to use the 1 off script with Mr. Irad Ortiz.
The
I'm
3.
going to use, I'm sorry, number 3. I was
It's the
looking
3.
at,
It's up. Yeah, it's an entry, so they put them
sorry,
up on top there.
sorry, number 3, off script. My top play is going to be number 5, Will of a Woman with Johnny V in the irons, Thomas Morley. And I'm also going to use the 6, Nona Lynn. In the 12th, what's my favorite thing to do in the last leg of a pick 4 and pick 5? Hit the all button. I'm going all.
Wow.
And I'm
Okay.
paying for a price. So $54, use it, modify it. And I want to see what Rich has to say.
Well,
Yeah.
I have two of them because in our show on Horse Racing Radar TV, we have what are called a hot dog, which is usually how I bet, and then there's we do $50 because anything TVG can do for 60, we can do for 50. But I figured I'd go with the TVG budget on my second pick 4, and considering it's the 2 stakes races in there, you got Sovereignty, so there's going to be, I think, a sizable money pool. So hopefully you can hit a few things in there. I
Mhm.
agree with Charisse on a few. I have Classic Q in mine, along with Play with Fire in the first leg. But I also have Lavender Disaster. The horse is making it's the 4 horse. I'm sorry. So I have 5, 4, and then the 10. I do think Classic Q is one of those horses that I don't know that being the favorite is the right status because it's a boom or bust, all or nothing type. It's running 7 times in its life. It's won 3 off the board in the other 4. Usually horses like that, I like to get a little better than the favorite status, but he could end up being a pace setter against a pretty soft pace and take him from one end to the other on the track on the front end.
Mhm.
Lavender Disaster. This is the first time the horse is going to make his third start in a row. My experience with them, Mike, I hear you're the wonder handicapper. What's your experience been? But for me, horses making their first start, third start for the first time. Too many numbers in a row. They're either boom or bust types. What do you think?
I agree. I love third time off of a layoff, and they usually run powerful. So I agree with you there.
Well, last time out, he put faster fractions on the track, but he was wide through the first turn, and I hate that as a handicapper. When I'm watching my horse go through the first turn 3 wide,
Oh,
I know, especially if the
terrible.
fractions are hot, they're doomed. Moving inside, I think helps. Play with Fire. Chad Brown horse in New York. Can you ever pass a Chad Brown horse in New York?
No.
unless it comes in your house at the night and it didn't tell you in advance it's coming in. But anyway,
Yeah,
Clever.
I
Oh,
like that.
uh, and then a long shot for me is Refining Flowers. 2 trips on the Toga, mile and a 16th inner turf course. Some trouble in one of them, otherwise would have won both of them. So maybe it's a turf for the Saratoga mile and a 16th turf course. And
Yeah.
then race 10, the Jim Dandy Stakes, great too. Everybody's afraid of Sovereignty, right? Small field. So you got Sovereignty. Journalism did his job in the Haskell last week. This one's walloped everybody horse in this field. He's going to go off 1-5. What do you think? 1-5, 1-9? What's the
Mhm.
consensus?
Sure. 1 to
Yeah.
1
5
to
for
5.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think if there's anybody that's going to give him a hustle in here, it's going to be the 3-horse Moplex. Because if you look at the running styles of everybody but Moplex, all the running styles are from middle back.
Yep.
So Moplex that one can get out to the lead and do so. Say he runs the opening half in 49, he's got a shot.
That's
Okay.
That'll
it.
be the key right there.
Okay.
Barry Meadows out from your neck of the world, California. He's got a great book. If you haven't done it, you're a numbers geek. It's called The Skeptical Handicapper. Go buy it. But one of his angles is horses that ran 3 consecutive speed figure increases in a row, or 4 in this case. They win at least 15% alpha angle. So that's the only one I would even consider tossing in with Sovereignty, considering he's mopped everybody else in that pack.
Okay.
Yep.
Off to race 11. Hello Beauty, the 9-horse. That horse's last race speed figure was a full 11 points better than everybody else's. That's a lot for everybody else to overcome. The only other horse in the field that's come close to that is Off Script. The 3 has plenty of late energy, but you might as well take a lighter out, put your money under it, put it on fire, because this one is a money burner. It has been the public's choice 4 times in a row and burned everybody every time. So the other
Yep.
horse I'm thinking about in here is that first-time starter, Starship Pegasus.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 3-point system. This one gets 2.67 out of the 3 points, has the best grass breeding, a bullet workout on June the 19th. I am of the belief that every trainer with a new horse is going to put it out there at least once during training before it goes live and go, you know what, to the jockey, let me see what it's got and push it. Back
Yep.
bullet workout, look out for that 10 horse. And then
Okay.
if 2B Amazing Gracer gets in, this one is a part of an entry that went off as the favorite, had a really bad start, rallied hard, and does have second race par ability, which means typical improvement in round 2 of its career would put her speed number past the Brisnet par speed figure of 76. And then finally, in race number 12, I agree, Charisse. I wish I could press the all button, but I can't. So I'm going to go with some classic handicapping angles off of the maiden special weight drop with the 7, shortening up, lots of late energy for that guy. And then the 6-horse Majestic Michael, another horse that's a maiden special MS dropper into the maiden claiming ranks, has a couple of par races already, so you know the horse can hit the number. We just don't know that he can do it on turf. Battle Drum, the 9, last time out, was faster by about a half a second. Top turf breeding in the field. Goes back to Irad in the 3rd start after a layoff. And when all else is equal in New York, take Irad, because you know at the very minimum, he won't let anybody pass him down the lane no matter how many fouls.
That's quite true. Very true.
And then 10-horse, Hedge the Risk. Again, the top last race speed figure, 3 points better than everybody else. Barry Meadows and all his research, not Barry Meadows, excuse me, Andrew Byer, godfather of speed figure, says any horse that has a 3-point speed figure, keep an eye on that one. Only its 5th race, so plenty of room for upside in the 2nd race off the sidelines. And then finally, Majorica, the 8th, so 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 in the middle. 3rd race, classic handicapping angle, good workout between races. There's that 3 speed figure increase again. And I think moving to one of the most underrated jockeys there is, Luis Saez. So there's lots to like about this. So I have a hot dog pick 4. This one's $15. Race 9, 4, 5, 10. In race 10, the conservative route is to single Sovereignty. The aggressive route is to take them out and put the 3 in instead, if you're looking for the bigger ticket. Then 9, 10 in race 11, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 in race number 12. It's a $15 ticket. And then the TVG budget, race 9, 1, 4, 5, 10, 3, 5, 3, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the maximum allotment of $60.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Beautiful.
Rich, I have a question for you. Do you think that, one of the things about Bill Mott, he's pretty clever. And do you think that he's going to have this horse cranked up for this Jim Dandy, with the Travers just being 4 weeks away?
Yeah, probably not. I would imagine he's looking at a field, pretty soft field in here. I feel
Yeah,
like he's walloped all these other horses. He's got a short field. I don't know that he's going to need his best effort to get the job done here. I
yeah,
would imagine that the eye is on the prize for the Jim Dandy, although you kind of wonder about that. I mean, for the Travers, considering that, they didn't want to go through the gauntlet of the Triple Crown, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
sure.
yep. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
I think
Yeah.
he would have probably won the Triple Crown. What do you think if he ran?
I I don't know. I mean, Bieglmeier said that and if you look at his formula, I mean, he spaced him apart exactly the way he wanted to space him apart as far as weeks go, and he won at those distances, and he lost to Tappan Street. I had Tappan Street, by the way, in the Florida Derby. That was kind of nice, but he ended up spacing him, and he's won what 4 out of 5 of those races. Grade
Mhm.
twos and ones. So I mean, I think he's doing the same thing here. He's thinking, all right, this is the right time to run him again before I run him in the big races. So Jim Dandy's, I think, a nice soft spot, like you said, Rich. But I think even his B work is probably going to beat this group. And I like what you're saying about Moplex because, yeah, if he walks a dog on the front end, yeah, I mean, the Sovereignty
Yeah.
won't have enough time to come back.
Mhm.
I mean, this isn't a
Mhm.
mile and a quarter. This is a mile and 16, a mile and an eighth. So if he walks a dog on the front end for 3/4 of a mile, he could just say adios muchacho.
Mhm.
Like
Look
it.
for Beaza to be written differently
Hmm.
this time.
Yeah, with Hector
Look,
Barrios, I mean,
yeah,
Hector's won on him before, and he probably figures, give me a shot in there, and he lost it just barely to journalism in the Santa Anita Derby. And we had him big time in the Santa Anita Derbies or Santa Anita Derby, so that was highly unfortunate. But that would have been nice to have
yeah,
Baeza instead of journalism in that spot. But we still have the trifecta. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
yep.
But
Mhm.
I agree, though. I think Hector's going to ride him a little more aggressively, and I think the one thing if you can knock Flavian Prat, and we've talked about this before, Mike, is that I think he thinks that he can always make that one run. He
Yep.
thinks he can
Yep.
always come from behind and like, okay, I've got to come from behind her here, and I got the spot, and I'm going to do it. The horses don't always cooperate when he does that, and that's the thing. I'm sure glad that Pratt isn't on Sovereignty. It's like,
Exactly. They love to make one run. I mean, he's a great turf jockey, and
sure.
he puts these horses in great position. But those guys that ride well on the turf, they transition to the dirt, and they're trying to ride the race like it's a turf race a lot of times. But yeah, I think that's why the jockey change was made.
Yep.
Mhm.
Probably right.
I also think
Probably
with
right.
Sovereignty too, there might be a little bit of a first up anxiety, maybe. The horse I know he got up to win the Fountain of Youth at the very end. That was the first up race, but it was by a neck. But if you look
Yeah.
at it, the debut, he missed second by a neck, and it looks like the third and fourth starts off the layoff is when that horse really is oiled up and ready to go.
Yeah.
So if there's going to be any weakness, it'll be, I think, first start off the bench. But I don't know. He's walloped all these other horses, so I don't know if any of them have improved enough to put the beating back on him.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
Well, okay, we zipped through all that stuff. Rich, so you are our guest here. I'd love to hear about your how you got into horse racing and where it has taken you from being a wee lad to now.
Well, I didn't, I don't have that background where I had the degenerate uncle or the degenerate father or grandfather that took me to the track for the first time to get away from the house. Hey, I'm taking the nephew to the track today. I was actually in college with the gentleman who does, and he denies it now. He pretends he doesn't know me. And you tell your friends if you make it, don't forget me, right? Well, I can tell you they'll forget you. But Joe Christofek, the guy who does all the
Sure.
Yeah.
stuff for Churchill Downs. He and I were college classmates together at Columbia College here in Chicago, studying journalism to go into broadcast journalism. And he went the horse racing route. I wanted to go sports broadcasting route. And one afternoon, we're in our class, and he said, "You want to go to Sportsman's Park in Hopefully, Illinois? It's the tourist mecca of the city of Chicago, hardly, but." So we went over there. That was the first time I went to the track. I had a good friend of mine whose father owned a couple of horses over at Arlington. So we would go over there, and there was a trainer by the name of Terrell Gore who trained some horses at Arlington and maybe some Ohio tracks, but I never went over there. And we spent some time on the backside in the paddock before races. Always had a lot of fun. And growing up, I was good with math. I was able to go through the programs and kind of work my way through them and saw handicapping more as kind of like solving a puzzle than really anything else. And yeah, a little bit before that, a good friend of mine growing up in the Poconos, his father was a professional blackjack player
Hmm.
down in Atlantic City. And I would ask him, Mr. G, and we'll save names for the identity, stop people from getting in any trouble. But so I asked him, Mr. G, how does an 18-year-old kid graduate from high school and go play blackjack for a living instead of college or building houses or going into the armed service? They said, Richard, you got to have more money on your winning hands than on your losing hands. And I thought, well, that was just fantastic advice because if I knew which hands were going to win and I knew which ones would lose. But then he introduced me to the whole concept of money management, right? So he also would tell my friend Joe and I, make sure when you gamble that you bet the minimum amount of money for the maximum amount of return. And you were
Yes.
talking a little bit about this before we got started, Charisse. That's
Yes.
why I do hot dog bets too. It's always been my way. Trying to change that a little bit because I go into some of these horse racing contests where it's live money. And I've met some people who have won and they've explained their strategies to me. And basically what they do, if it's a $500 buy-in, they'll buy 2 tickets. The maximum you can buy $500 on a horse to win over here, $500 to win on a horse over there. And if they win, they're at the top of the contest board right away, and then they can manage it from there. And if they lose, they go home, right? So pretty simple.
Yep.
So I'm trying to expand into that, but I am more of a hot dog bettor, and I've been trying to solve this riddle for the last, I don't know, 35 years. And just when I feel like I get close, the game reminds me that I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
What you're
That's great. And, to bet a little bit of money to make a lot is exactly why I very rarely, I'll bet to win occasionally, but, I'm on that. You have to, bet, a little. When I say a little, my tickets are anywhere from 96 to, a couple $100, usually for the pick five. But I've had some really good scores because of that.
Mhm.
And it has saved me, all year because of those large scores. So I agree with you 100%.
Yep, no doubt about it. In fact, Charisse, I used to make fun of her with her little dinky bets, but
Hmm.
I've long since stopped doing that. Because I remember in 2013 she placed a $6 pick four wager at Belmont and brought back over $3,000 on it.
There you
And
go.
so I just, and it was right in the middle of, because we used to own horses, the lower level claimers at Los Al nighttime. We made it to Santa Anita a couple of times with our horses, and we won once at Los Al daytime. But we were the lower type claimer horses, and our horse spooked and ran back to the barn and did a slide into third base and just scuffed the whole back end. And then there was infections, and the horse
Hmm.
was going to die. And we were faced with a $5,000 vet bill to try to fix what's going on, and we just couldn't decide what to do. Well, I was working at the time. I happened to take a break and I pulled up the TVG account, and because we had the same TVG account at that time, I didn't start my own. And she's like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?" I said, "Honey, did you check the TVG account?" She says, "No, I haven't." So we've got over 4 grand in there. What happened? And so I looked it up, and on my iPad, I took a picture of it, a screen capture, and I've saved it ever since, because
Mm.
Yeah,
I mean, those are once in a lifetime scores, where
sure.
you $6 gets you, well, I think it was 3,600. That's just
Mhm.
Yeah.
amazing.
But all the
So,
credit, Rich, do you remember Alan Benowitz
no,
I
on the
don't.
East Coast? Alan Benowitz Thoroughgraph?
I'm familiar with the product.
Yeah. He gave out the horse in the last race that I think morning line, he was probably 15 to 1. And I followed Alan for many years, and I have to give the credit to him. I know he's retired now, but yeah. And it was a horse that was like had Angel in his name. And
yeah,
we just talked to the vet that morning. He said, I'm going to try one more round of
uh,
antibiotics on Torero, but if it doesn't work, we
Yeah.
can't continue.
yeah.
And the horse came back, the only horse we've ever owned that gave us 3 wins.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
And then
Amazing.
we retired him, and he was a
Yeah,
great pleasure horse for somebody for
yep.
years, and just
Great.
recently passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a
So
couple years
Wow.
ago
yeah,
in
great
Virginia.
horse though. Great horse.
Yep.
All right, Rich, we gotta ask. This is normally Mike's question he
Yeah.
asks, but maybe I'll let Mike ask it. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks, buddy. So, Rich, we love to talk about, big scores, and everybody gets all geeked to hear about them. What was your best score at the racetrack?
How about my best almost score? I almost had two of them.
Can you tell me
I've
two?
had I've had a few where, you've won. I know I've had three actually that I can remember off the top of my mind where I had a pick four at Woodbine where I had every horse but one and the minimum payout was 20 grand, and you know which one won, right?
Oh, no, no,
Oh,
The one
no
you
way.
didn't have.
No
But probably
way.
yeah, it's happened a few times. But the probably the
oh,
worst one is I leaned over to my friend at lunchtime. I used to work downtown at a financial firm selling data called Zacks to mutual funds and money managers and stuff like that. I said, Mike, I'm going to go over and bet a pick four at Gulfstream Park. Do you want in? So yeah, and I know the math, right, for pick fours, and it should have been $54 if I remember correctly. And back in the old days, it's not like today where you can do it on your computer. You had to go to the OTB, right? You
mhm.
had to get in a line with all the regulars, and in Chicago, a lot of those regulars, that OTB is not only where they go bet, it's where they live until they close the doors, right?
Yeah, true.
And so there's a lot of $2 bettors in there, and everybody, for whatever reason, when there's 2 minutes to post or 1 minute to post,
Yep.
they all get up and they jump in line. Now,
Yep.
I'm aware of this, so I got there early so I can get back to my desk and watch the races. But so I went through the ticket. I got about 10 people behind me because some maiden claiming $5,000 race that Parks is about to go off, and you got all the locals yelling at me. Come on, they're swearing at you and calling you all kinds of names and threatening you with violence and so forth. But it is Chicago. And put the bet in. I kept looking at it, and I'm like, the math is wrong. The math is wrong. It's supposed to be 54, and it's less than 54. What is wrong? And I went through the numbers in my head on the paper over and over and over and over again. I said, maybe I just screwed up the math. I went back to my desk. Well, the opening horse in the pick four was 99 to 1. They went off and it won. And I had one of those calendars on my desk, with the square dates where you'd write down your to-do stuff in it. And I wrote down the pick four I was going to bet in the to-do list. And the horse was in there, and I'm like, I swore probably and said, I have a holy something. And I'm like, wait. And then, of course, I looked at the ticket, and that was the horse that wasn't on there.
Oh,
So I was like,
Oh
that
no.
explains the math, right? So the next race went off. And now you're in a position where you kind of half-heartedly want to win, but you want one to beat you so that you
You do.
don't,
You do.
right. And then the next horse comes in, and of the three horses I have, it's the longest shot on the board. The next one comes in, it's the longest one I have again. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then the final leg came in. I think it was like the second choice at that time. The pick four for for $2 paid $250,000.
Jesus Christ.
I
Oh my
had it for
goodness.
I had it for 50 cents, so I left $65,000 on the table that day. So that was one good one. And
That's
then
a
the
good
other
one.
good one, well, you remember when was Ken Rudolph, right? What was
yeah.
it, Giacomo that made his
Yeah.
thing?
Giacomo, the Derby.
So yeah, so I was going to go to Germany that day because my family's from Germany. My grandmother said, let's go to Germany. I hadn't been there since I was like a fat baby, wearing lederhosen when they can make fun of me and dress me and stuff. They wanted to dress me in instead of what I could dress in my own choices. But anyhow, I said to my good friend Larry, I'm like, I like this horse to finish. Like, let's just put him in and put some Giacomo, put some other things around him. And I went down and I gave him $120 trifecta and $120 uh, superfecta. It's the only time in his life this guy said no to me. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'm leaving that day anyway. So it's the only time probably since I've been 21 years old that I did not bet on the Kentucky Derby. And I think if I remember correctly, the trifecta in that race paid something like $60,000, and the
Yeah.
superfecta paid like
Yeah.
a million.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's only time I have not bet the Derby. I the It's still in the same house over here on Campbell Avenue by Fullerton, about 2.5 miles, 3 miles from O'Hare. My family's in the taxi yelling at me, let's go. I'm trying not to cry. From the time I could walk from the back of the house to the taxi, because I don't want
Yeah.
anybody to know what just happened.
No, you're not telling a word, the
Yeah.
soul, except right here.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
now everybody knows, but back then, oh my Lord. Because men don't cry over horses, but over lost money we might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are great stories
Sure.
right there. And I mean, life-changing stories. And on my I guess on my Twitter, I was alive to the whole pool twice, like 3 years ago at Belmont. I was the only ticket in the pick five twice. It's
Oh.
it's recorded. Richie Mick
Mhm.
twice, and got beat by. I had three horses in the last leg and got beat. It was 250,000. It was the whole pool and got
Oh,
beat by the longest shot on the board by a head. My horses ran second, third, and fourth. Everything. The least paying ticket was a quarter of a million. I had the only ticket
Yeah.
Mm.
twice, and those
Yeah,
just I cried.
yeah. I mean, I can't blame you. I know how it feels, unfortunately. I've been
Yeah,
in that similar boat. Yes, I can't
wow.
blame you for crying. A couple of people I know, one person in particular, he said he had a life-changing pick six. So I he two commas. That
Wow.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's good.
Wow.
It's good to get
They're
that.
out
yeah.
there.
That second
For
comma
them,
is life changing, isn't it?
Yeah,
yes, indeed. I don't measure bank accounts by zeros, by commas. That's the new way.
yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Unfortunately, I don't even have one comma anymore, but that's all right.
yeah,
It's all right. Day by day, baby. Day by day. Well, thanks for letting us in on that, Rich. And I think we have an update on something that happened today, Sharice, don't we?
yeah.
Yeah, we do. Jockey Tyler Connor was injured in a spill today, the seventh race. And out of respect for Tyler, I understand the jockeys decided to cancel the rest of the card. Tyler was airlifted to the hospital, and I believe, Rich, no new news, but he has a broken vertebrae in his neck and a broken nose, and they were in the process of doing an MRI about an hour ago. So
Well,
prayers, healing prayers to Tyler, his wife, and his family, of
Yeah.
course.
God bless
Yes,
them.
ma'am.
I have heard though that he is getting feeling back, and
Oh,
Good.
good, good,
and
Excellent.
that and that he's expected to be okay. So hopefully
good.
that's good
Awesome.
news right
Fantastic.
there. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he just seems like a great guy and a great
Hmm.
jockey. Great
Hmm.
jockey. Yeah.
Yeah, he's real good friends with us over at Horse Racing today. My partner Sean, who handles our social media stuff, he's been to his farm a couple times, and Erin, the stepmother, really good quality people, and have been big supporters of what we've done over the years. So yeah,
Awesome.
prayers up for everybody involved.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
please
God bless.
extend our prayers to his family for us, for Mike, Steve, and I at A Kiss of
Yes.
Luck, and we're praying for him.
Yes.
Amen. That we are. That
Amen.
we are. Well, you know what, everybody, thank you very much for participating in this wonderful roundtable. And Rich, thank you again. I will put a link in the description for Rich's YouTube channel as well. And we certainly appreciate you coming on, sir.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yep,
I'll be
good
on
deal.
with you guys tomorrow morning, Rich.
All right, make sure you tune in. We're gonna do well tomorrow. We're not doing anything, so we'll be Monday. We'll be back.
Oh, Monday, you're okay. No
Yes, because
problem.
usually we do four on Fridays, but Tom can't make it tomorrow, so we'll be back on Monday for Ellis Park since Park is closing for the week.
Oh,
Their summer break, right? They go on vacation with the politicians, I guess.
Why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good deal.
okay.
Well, we always send off our podcast with the old dating game kiss for luck here. So goodbye, everybody, and take care. We'll see
Good
you next week.
luck.
Bye now.